Jonathan Marshall does a good job covering the NBA. Lottery has we saw the ping pong balls fall in the Philadelphia 76ers' favor. And I guess that's what happens, Jonathan. You're bad enough and you tank for a while, then guess what? You're going to have an opportunity. We'll spend a couple minutes talking a little NBA with you. All right, here's the big question. If you are the Philadelphia 76ers, now I said this yesterday, a little bit of a red flag now in my eyes with Ben Simmons because he, quote, wants to go to Los Angeles for a shoe contract. Go ahead, you can have fun with that one. But are you going Simmons or are you going Brandon Ingram? Or are you trading?
Wow. Since you mentioned the whole L.A. shoe deal thing, that's a red flag for Simmons, obviously. I mean, we went the whole thing with Okafor, him not, does he want to be in Philly or not? Do you want to go through that again another year with the top rookie? So that raises the red flag. But if all things being equal and there's no shoe deal that he cares about in L.A. or whatever, we're talking strictly basketball. If I'm the Sixers brass, I'm going with Ben Simmons, and here's why. I love Ingram's game at 6'10", what he does with the ball offensively. That's great. But where the game is going now, we see with Golden State, you got to have multi-dimensional players.
Yeah.
When I see a guy like a Ben Simmons running the point at 6'10", when I see a guy like Ben Simmons in the post running the 5, running the 4, when I see a guy like Ben Simmons actually going through pick and rolls, beating his man off pick and rolls at his size with that skill set, I think that's something that the Sixers need, especially as they're rebuilding. As they're not going to have a lot of talent, he's a guy that can make other players around him better.
Yeah,
he puts the ball in positions where other guys may not be able to put positions at, and that's going to make that player that much better. That's why I'll pick him.
Okay, but would you also argue that Ingram's more of the natural scorer? He gives the Sixers basically that punch on the perimeter that they're lacking, that they need?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, that's. I think Ingram offensively is the better player for sure. That's not a question at all. And I mean, all these guys have question marks. Simmons, his jumper, will he ever develop a jumper? Brandon Ingram, can he get stronger? How will he handle the physicality at this next level? I mean, both these guys have question marks. Ingram would be a great pick scoring-wise, but I just look at the bigger picture and what this team needs, and I think Simmons offers so much more. I think Simmons can be a great building block for this team.
It's not even the argument I make with you. Here's my thought. Ingram might be the better fit, but you know this. Sometimes, whether it's the NFL or NBA, you can't pass up on a talent, right? You just can't. You see someone and you're like, there's absolutely no way we can pass up on this guy. I think that's why Simmons would be the logical choice. If you were asking me, and you mentioned 6'10", 240. But here's a question, though. Look at the Sixers right now. It's always ifs with this squad, right? If Sarge is coming over, when he comes over, what's going to happen with Embiid? If Okafor is going to get his head on straight and learn how to play defense, get that instilled in him. They need a pure point guard. They need a scoring guard, if you will. And then you got Noel, who's going to be a good defensive player. He's not elite yet. He's not a all-world, but he's a heck of a defensive player. He runs the floor. I like watching this kid play, and I like the progressions I've seen from him. With all that being said, though, there's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts in there. I mean, it almost seems like, wow, what are you going to do if or when Embiid comes back?
I mean, it's a lot of question marks. And I mean, them having the first pick doesn't make it easier because, if you pick a Simmons and if he flames out, if he proves to be not as good as people think that he can be, if you pick an Ingram and he can't handle the physicality, Okafor, does he want to be here? Embiid, Sark, is he ever going to come over? Is Embiid ever going to be healthy? I mean, there's Noel. I mean, can he remain healthy? Can he handle the rigors of an NBA season for years to come? So I mean, this team is. I mean, this is a crucial time for the Sixers right now. You have the top pick. You have two other first round picks. So in my mind, it's like how you can't possibly mess this up. You cannot mess this up. I mean, it's right there on the silver platter for you. I don't think you can go wrong with Ingram or Simmons, to be honest. But I'm thinking this year, they have to figure it out. I mean, they have to figure it out with the big man situation. If Embiid doesn't get on the court, it's over. Like, that chapter's done. If he doesn't get on the court, he's never getting on the court.
You already know what I feel about Embiid. Until he steps on the floor and he plays, I'm not saying 82 games. I need to see him a month, 2, 3 into the season and that his legs, his feet, everything holds up. He is a bust. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's fair to say that. That's the reality of it. It doesn't matter if it's the Sixers or any other team. I'd say the same exact thing. You have to, and I'm starting to wonder, too, the fact that they had to send them all over God's creation to do therapy and extra surgeries, even though that one, I'm starting to think maybe it's not as properly, he's not 100%, well, he's not 100%, but maybe there's some discrepancies in that regard. But, again, that's an argument for another day. All right, let's get into the games themselves. If there was a night that Golden State had a poor shooting night, we saw it the other night. Were you as shocked as I was that the Thunder were able to win that one?
I was kind of shocked in the sense that, I mean, talent-wise, I think OKC can definitely, they have KD and Russell Westbrook. I mean, they have the firepower, they have the youth, they have the athleticism to keep up. But when you're thinking Golden State is pretty much, I mean, Klay Thompson is hitting on all cylinders. I mean, they have a nice lead. You're at Oracle Arena with that home crowd. That's not usually a game that Golden State lets up. That's not usually a lead that they're going to give up at home. We usually don't see that. So that's what surprised me, and what we've been seeing with OKC the last few games, going back to the San Antonio series, is their late game execution and actually coming through in late game situations, and they were able to pull it out. I mean, Golden State struggled in the fourth quarter, only put up 14 points. I mean, OKC's putting up 38 points in the third quarter. I mean, so OKC really showed up in a hostile environment. After two big wins against San Antonio to close the deal, I mean, the OKC team is showing some maturity right now that they can handle the big stage. And when you think about it, KD and Westbrook have been in the league for a while now. I mean, these aren't young guys. I mean, they've been to the finals. They've been through the playoff wars. So, I mean, I think that's starting to show itself that, number one, they have the talent, but maturity-wise, the experience, I mean, they've been here before, and we're really starting to see it come to fruition right now.
Yeah, and they caught Golden State on an off night, and you're right. I mean, they had, Westbrook was a little skittish, and then all of a sudden he turned it on in the second half, and you saw, look, when Waiters is making shots, and then it's opening the spacing on the floor, and you're seeing Durant do everything he needs to do. That's a huge win. If there was ever a game that they needed, it was game one. I mean, if you're Golden State, when was the last time someone said Golden State Warriors had to have a must-win? They have to win tonight because most likely they'll steal a game or two when it goes back to Oklahoma City, and then they have a chance to close it out. But this has the makings right now because of that, a 6 or 7 game series. I still have Golden State in 6, but certainly a must-win for them tonight.
Now, you're right. I mean, if you're going down 0-2 in OKC, and with you got that guy, I mean, KD is great. When you have a guy like Westbrook on the other side, he smells blood, and he's going after it. If you go to OKC down 0-2, Westbrook is going to make sure they may not even come back to Golden State, but Westbrook is going to make sure in his heart of hearts to at least get one at home. Yeah, I mean, that's just that guy. That guy is just that much of a competitor. And also, you have a guy like Kevin Durant that can put up 40 on any night, too. So, I mean, Golden State cannot mess with. I mean, this is not the Houston Rockets squad in disarray. This is not a Portland Trailblazers squad that doesn't have the talent. I mean, this is a really solid OKC team that's really confidence is building each night, it seems.
If Cleveland continues to play the way they're playing, I mean, you look at all the great teams that have won finals before, they stubbed their toe a little bit. They're running through the Eastern Conference. I don't see Toronto. Maybe on merit they win a game, but they just got their doors kicked in last night against the Cavs, and that's with LeBron basically sitting out the fourth quarter. I mean, did sit out the fourth quarter. There was really no need for him. You give Toronto a chance to even make this a 5-game series, let alone avoid a sweep?
Hugh, I've been so uninterested in this Eastern Conference playoffs right now. It's such a bore fest. I mean, Atlanta, that Toronto-Miami series was horrible. That was just ugly basketball. When Bismack Biyombo is looking like a player, something's wrong here. So Cleveland, this is their series. They should sweep this. Maybe they'll catch them on an off night in Toronto, but I really don't see this series going more than 5 games. I mean, I'm just waiting for Cleveland to face whoever comes out of the Western Conference because, I mean, Toronto really doesn't have a chance. I mean, Kyle Lowry had 8 points. He's been on and off. DeRozan has been on and off this series. When your 2 best guys are struggling like that, and your third player is, I mean, I can't even name who the third player is because Valanciunas is out right now. So you're looking at DeMar Carroll, Bismack Biyombo, Patrick Patterson. I mean, who are these guys? You know what I mean? So I just don't think Toronto has enough firepower, which has been the case with these other series, with Atlanta, with Boston. They just don't have with Detroit. I mean, they just don't have the firepower to compete against the Eastern Conference best in Cleveland.
Got about 30 seconds to go. Who was the bigger winner last night, the Lakers or the Sixers?
You know what? I'm going to say the Lakers because they're in a good position because, number one, they have a solid foundation in their organization. I mean, they're the Lakers. You're in L.A., so you're going to easily be a top player in free agency, number one. You have a nice point guard in D'Angelo Russell, a nice 2 guard in Jordan Clarkson. You have cap space, so that's not going to be an issue. You just signed the hottest young coach. So, number one, you're winning in the PR department as well. You get the second pick, you're saying, okay, if they pick Simmons, we got Ingram. If they pick Ingram, we got Simmons. It's an easy pick, according to me. So they're sitting pretty right now. And I think Boston's a winner, too. I mean, I think Boston is really the biggest winner out of all these teams, to be honest. I mean, they have 2 other picks in the first round. They have a great coach. They have a lot of cap space. But,
yep.
I mean, Boston and LA, to me, given the franchise's history,
yep.
the cap space, I mean, they're just in great positions right now.
And look, worst case scenario, if Simmons does, and I'm not saying this from a Sixer standpoint, but if Simmons gets drafted by the Sixers, he's going to get a discount from StubHub tickets. So
I saw that.
I'm just saying. I mean, you got to ride it out a little bit, right? Anytime you can get that discount from StubHub, you got to take advantage of it, pal.
I just want to say Sixers Nation was number 1 for one night, and they can't take that away from you guys. Just savor that moment. Savor it.
All right.
Savor it.
Get out of here, pal. I appreciate a couple moments.
Thank you.
All right, you got it. Good stuff, Jonathan Marshall.